Buon pomeriggio a tutti. I'm going to have to also say sorry. Unlike Dirk, I am Italian, but I will speak English because my employer is based in the UK. But I will be happy to grab a coffee or an aperitivo with you in Italian if you want. I'm going to be talking about the progress that we're seeing in the EU on the circular economy. But before I do that, for those of you that don't know us, the MacArthur Foundation is an international NGO that focuses on the transition towards a circular economy by developing thought leadership and working with business, policymakers, and education. We very much want to move away from an economy based on a take, make, waste approach, and we want to build an economy that is based on three principles: eliminating waste and pollution, keeping products and materials in use, and regenerating nature. So what's the starting point here? It's waste. There's a figure here about Italy. So it's 1 million tons, the figure of how much waste Italy generates each year. That equals to about 18 kilograms per capita. I know different studies give you slightly different results, but actually very important, this is above the EU average. So that should give us a sense of the urgency to deal with this problem in Italy. And to deal with the problem, we need to know what causes the problem. So what are the drivers? The first one is product design. So we see that the quality of the products within the market are declining over time. We are seeing less durable products, less recyclable products, maybe products made from virgin synthetic materials. And these products are products that have no value for recycling, no value for reuse, and that's why they become waste. Second, infrastructure. In Italy, we do have some infrastructure. Importantly, we've already got quite a lot of separate collection. However, it's only 14% of what is put on the market every year. And although sorting facilities are well spread within the country, recycling only happens in some very virtuous hubs, such as the Prato region. And also, although we see very good numbers in terms of what happens to sorted textiles, just be aware that most of them are exported to other countries, often in the global south. So we've got a big gap in infrastructure. Lastly, revenues today are being made by selling more and more products in a linear way and not by keeping products in circulation. And if I think of Italy, I can think about all the artisans that are really good at repairing our stuff. Calzolai, for example, that are seeing really challenging times with increasing taxes, increasing costs of raw materials, and therefore we are going to be struggling to see them evolve and therefore prevent waste. I'm going to dive into each of these drivers and what businesses can do, as well as what the regulatory framework offers to us as an opportunity to do even more action. So I want to see it as an opportunity rather than as a challenge here. So firstly, what can businesses do on product design? Well, obviously, they need to design products that are more durable, more recyclable. They need to include recycled content and safe chemistry in them. At the foundation, we've been working with about 100 brands over the last 4 years on a project called Jeans Redesign, and we've achieved a few numbers of redesigned jeans being placed on the market. And we see that actually these companies are taking these learnings into their whole product portfolios. So there are companies that have been making this happen systematically over time, over the last few years. We've also seen that awards, such as the CNMI Awards, have been dedicating circular economy prizes to organizations for the past few years, and that's really a testament to the efforts that even the Italian industry has been putting towards these efforts already. Coming to the infrastructure, it's great to see that some brands and retailers in Italy have been starting to join forces to take the responsibility voluntarily, because that's not mandatory yet, for the collection, sorting, and recycling of their products once they put them on the market. In particular, there's 7 consortiums that have been born. I've only found logos for 5. However, I want to highlight only 50 brands and retailers have joined these consortiums. 50 is a small number because this is not just the Italian brands and retailers, it's all the brands and retailers that place their products on the Italian market that should start to organize to deal with the products that they place on the Italian market. So there's some action happening, but not enough. Finally, business models. We see that brands and retailers are starting to pilot business models that make revenues by circulating products rather than selling more and more products. And they're doing so by offering resale offerings, repair, rental, and remanufacturing offerings. In particular, we have a project at the foundation called the Fashion Remodel that so far brings together 8 brands, but we're still open for new participants, so if you're interested, please contact me. These participants are committing to generating revenue without making new products. So this is a project we're embarking on between now and 2027. So we've seen some business action, but let's see how this business action can actually be rewarded by the regulatory framework. Because as my colleagues have said, it is now more of a cost to do sustainability, to do the circular economy. We don't want the first movers to be disincentivized by being the first movers. And that's why we need the regulatory framework to be there and to get there faster. So firstly, on product design, we're seeing the eco-design regulation that aims to make the playing field leveled so that both Italians, international retailers brands and retailers, really abide by the same rules. And we are not going to see the market being flooded with low-quality products, but actually all of them will be meeting minimum standards on recyclability, durability, recycled content, etc. And it's very important that businesses here make their voice heard during the process. Right now there is a consultation that businesses can take part on, and only then can we see results that are ambitious as well as doable and implementable by the industry. So it's very important for businesses to get involved in shaping the legislation. On the infrastructure, we're seeing a revision of the Waste Framework Directive, which is now close to its final text. And this will mandate mandatory extended producer responsibility schemes in all Italian member states. As well as that, by the way, it will mandate the collection of textiles, but that has already been the case in Italy since 2022. So Italy has already been ahead and is hopefully going to be one of the first countries to implement this in the EU. We already have a few that have it, such as the Netherlands and a few others. No, sorry, France. The Netherlands is the newest. I don't want to bore you with details, but something often misunderstood is that this responsibility is being borne by the brands and the retailers, both the national, the international, and the online ones, not by the supply chain. So the supply chain is involved into these schemes, but they're not going to have to take financial and operational responsibility for the management of the products. That's just to make it clear. Importantly, the fees are calculated based on the net cost of the activities that need to be performed, such as collection, sorting, and recycling. Today, these activities are very much running with low profitability margins, sometimes even with a cost. And this is the calculation that the fees, the contributions will be based on. They will be based on covering that net cost that should be borne rightfully so by the producers, brands and retailers, and not by citizens and municipalities. We've just published a report on exactly how we think EPR should be designed. So grab me for a coffee later and I can talk to you about our findings. Now I don't have time for that. Very importantly, our findings are globally relevant, not just relevant to Italy, so very much happy to talk about them. And as a sporting retailer has recently said in an article, only business knows business best and can help advise governments as these schemes emerge. So if you're a business, get involved. Join a consortium. As I showed earlier, there's a list of 7 already present in Italy, so you can shape legislation in a way that works. Finally, on business models, just briefly, we have seen that it's crucial to make the economics work for those models that are currently not working. And there's measures that can be taken, not by the EU in this case, because they're more of a competence of the national governments, such as support, just windfall support for SMEs that perform those operations, but also fiscal breaks. We're seeing that the French EPR scheme has already set a fund for that, and that's very welcome. We want to see more of that. And just coming to an end. We've seen how urgent this problem is, and we've seen how much it can be seen as an opportunity by businesses that act quicker and influence legislation. We're seeing businesses already acting, and we're seeing legislation already happening. So here, the question is no longer whether we can achieve a circular economy for textiles in Italy, but how fast and how ambitiously we can make it happen together. Thank you.
Grazie Matteo Magnani.